Hi, thank you so much for joining us to listen in today. So, today we're going to be talking a little bit about retirement. Retirement. I know it seems a very long way away, but in reality, it's just not. So, I've provided a link down in the description of the video. I'm going to have you click there. What it is, it's a link to the Social Security Administration, everybody's favorite administration, right? So, um, this is what the Social Security Administration use as well as the IRS to determine life expectancy. I promise I'm not trying to start out by getting this by being morbid. But I want you to have this number in mind. So you're going to plug in your age, and it's going to tell you based off of that when you're expected to be retiring and how long you've got to go. I believe for me it was something around 56 good more years before I can finally retire if I'll be able to. And that's the focus of what we're going to be discussing here today. Will we be able to retire? Well, the Sustainable Profit Sharing Plan is a new view on retirement that, should it ever be implemented, um, may help us reach our goals with respect to that. So, there are many types of retirement plans that are available. You have 401ks, you have individual retirement plans, they're both popular. Um, But there was one plan that I'm sure we've all heard of, but most of us may not have anymore, and that is a defined benefits plan. Defined benefits plan is also called a pension plan. Julia Kagan describes for us what that is. It's an employer sponsored retirement plan where employee benefits are computed using a formula that considers several factors, such as your length of employment and your salary history. However, since 1984, they have rapidly been declining. They're no longer part of what's called the three-legged stool, which is a combination of Social Security and traditional pensions and personal savings that people rely upon to retire. And you can see in the graphic over to the side of your screen, 1 in 3 Americans have zero saved for retirement. Love how they have the kids standing there. Us millennials don't really have too much saved up in the way of retirement on the whole. But when you factor in the high cost of housing, low wages, the minimum wage hasn't been raised since 2009. It's been pretty steady at $7.25 an hour. It's just not feasible to save as much for retirement as we're able to. And with the demise of the pensions, employees can't or just can't. I'm trying again, just aren't able to save for retirement in the way that they should and at any sort of meaningful rate. So, what's been done to combat that? What solutions have already been tried? Let's dive in on that. So, the major uh, act that has been passed with respect to attempting to combat the retirement crisis has been the passage of the Pension Protection Act in 2006. We see President George Bush off to the side signing that, very happy to be signing that. Um, had several goals in mind with the passage of that legislation. It was to protect retirement accounts and hold companies that underfunded their existing pensions accountable to their pensioners. So you have passages of various bills within that act to achieve that. A few other things that were done with that: increase the individual retirement account contribution limits, increase salary deferral contribution limits to 401k plans as well. Also introduce safe harbor rules and automatic enrollment. So you think increase the amount people can put away, they'll save more. Great in theory, but with the factors that we saw earlier, it's just not feasible. So a few things to sort of give a definition on for those of us who aren't familiar with 401ks or are familiar but just don't have that sort of industry jargon. So a safe harbor rule is optional. It's something that an employer can contribute to the retirement plan, excuse me, even if the employee does not. And we see off to the side here some of those examples of what that can be. One of that would be um, uh, ties into a basic match, where if you're contributing, then the employer will match a certain amount. If you contribute 5%, then the employee will match you 100% up to that. You contribute 4, they'll match 50% of that. I'm sure the majority of us have heard of matching, and if you have not, that's exactly what that is. That's a good thing to look for. It's essentially free money that the company's giving you. Of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Um, you're working for that, so that is definitely a perk of having the 401k. The other option that the passage of the PPA that was signed into law enacted was the automatic enrollment. In theory, this broadens the spectrum for people who can now participate in those plans. However, if you're working one of those $7.25 an hour jobs and you don't realize that you've automatically been enrolled, that creates a serious problem, because in those situations, every single penny is accounted for. You really can't afford to be out any at all. So, what are we going to do to fix that? Well, this is where the sustainable profit sharing plan comes in. In this plan, the employer takes funds from their profits that you helped earn for them, and they contribute that into a tax deferred plan that's held in trust for you. So, having this plan set up, in the end, it's going to encourage loyalty of the company's human capital. That's you and everything that you bring to the company. You helped earn those profits. You should absolutely share in those. The sip sip, as I will call it, is a little bit quicker, will create a culture of inward and upward growth and long-term stability. If you know that your work matters, and the better that you work for the company, the more rewards you're going to reap to help you retire in the long run. That's that stability right there, and that's going to increase those benefits and the profitability of the company. So how does that work? So you work for a company, you're fully vested after 5 years. If you decide to leave the company, that's perfectly fine. Then you can withdraw your funds in a lump sum. You can have ad hoc payments or installments, monthly or yearly. The one caveat with that is, though, once you leave, those profit sharing contributions that you get every quarter, they cease. Now, let's say that you decide to retire with the company. That's great. This is what this is for, after all, right? Your retirement. So you still have those same withdrawal options. But here, once you have retired from the company, every year you are still receiving those contributions from the employer. The one caveat with that is, because our life expectancy decreases as we get older, it wouldn't make sense for employers to pay quite as much of those profits. You haven't been contributing to the company for some time since you retired. Thank you for your service in the company, but you don't really deserve as much of the profits. So that's going to be recalculated on a yearly basis. So how are we going to get this done? How are we going to get this plan started? So first, we need to present the summary plan description to the ARA. They're going to lobby to the Employee Benefit Securities Commission. The legislation would then be passed that's needed to amend the existing rules for retirement plans and tax codes. And we're going to know that this works because after 10 years, we're going to measure profits and ratings from a pilot company who has tested that out. So, in conclusion, it's clear that traditional pensions are a thing of the past, and the way forward is going to be with this particular plan. I definitely thank you for your time today and for your patience, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to your retirement. Thank you.